let's talk about our very loose plans on this garden here. So if you want to know what we're growing, a couple rows of potatoes, some onions. Those are actually going to be planted the week of April 5th. We have a couple rows of sweet peppers, some bush beans. There's a lot of different varieties in here, but we're kind of trying a bunch of different things this year. Tomatoes as well. So we're going to use a Florida weave with our tomatoes. Try that for the first time. I've never really done that, but it seems like a good way to grow tomatoes. Tomatoes actually are something that's new for us. We don't grow tomatoes. We've never grown tomatoes, but we don't really like slicing tomatoes, just personally, myself nor Amy do. But we like sauces, and so we're growing tomatoes just for sauces. We'll get into the different types later. Squash, zucchini, then cucumbers and pole beans on a trellis that we're going to create. So on our second plot right now, this one was a little bit less planned out. We want to do sweet potatoes, winter squash, and watermelon in kind of a general area. Then I have to have a place for some hot peppers. I need at least one row of hot peppers. So I'm not going to do as many as I've done historically because, to be honest, I got so many hot peppers last year that I just don't need any this year. So I'm going to do a couple of them just for fun, but nothing too fancy. And then corn and okra. So I really love okra. I love growing okra. It's easy to grow. So that's a big plot for me. And then we also have some corn, which I have never grown personally. So it should be interesting to see what I can do this year, starting my own little corn square. These are obviously not to scale. This is just corn's going to be kind of in a square on half or a quarter of a plot, essentially. And then I'm going to have a quarter of a plot of okra too, which is a lot of okra. But I like growing okra. I'm going to try some different varieties and see what we can do. And then plot 3 is going to be a pumpkin patch. We don't know where plot 3 is going to be just yet, but it's probably going to be another plot that we just till up and just start planting some pumpkins in there. So we've got a couple different varieties of pumpkins. We're actually going to try to grow some of the biggest pumpkins we've ever grown, and we'll see what happens this year. But this is mostly just for fun, but we're going to hopefully get some production out of these things. These are really things that we like to grow. There's a bunch of different varieties, but these are the things that we like to eat. So that's what we're going to try to grow. And we'll see what happens. So we should have plenty to keep after the season's over with. So that's kind of our general plan. Plans are subject to change. All of these possibly could change. But we wanted to at least have something written down so we know what we're planning to do in April. Let's talk about what we're actually going to grow this year. So we've got some Haas Tools California Wonder Bell peppers. These are just mild jalapenos. Got some cayenne long red thin peppers. Amy got these in a growth packet that had all kinds of different heirloom seeds in it. So we're going to try that. Anaheim chilies. Ancho Grandes. Some of these are ones that Amy specifically wanted for dishes and things that she was looking for. I don't normally grow these. I don't normally grow Anaheim chilies either. These are good for dishes, so we're going to try them. And then some large red cherry hot peppers. Amy wanted some shishito peppers as well. And habanero. I do have more than these, but these are the ones that we grew out of packets. I have some left over from last year, some ghost peppers left over from last year that I am going to grow. And then I also have some unknown pepper seeds that I had in a bag, and I don't know what they are. So I'm going to try to grow those and just see what happens. And we also have some banana peppers that we're going to try to grow. So that's the peppers. So let's go to the tomatoes. All right, so as far as tomatoes, we have some Amish paste tomatoes. We have some In My Gardener seeds and Haas Tools seeds. I believe we planted both of these, at least some of both. So they have germinated and are in the seeds downstairs. We have a San Marzano tall vine tomato. Some of those also came from that packet of seeds that she got. We have Roma tomatoes. I'm not sure where she got these from, but somewhere on the internet. Might have been in a seed swap, actually. She did a lot of seed swaps this year. So, and then we have the Better Boy hybrid tomato and the Early Girl hybrid tomato. We actually didn't get very good germination on these Early Girls, but we got a few of them. That should be all we need. And I got another little treat for you. I'm going to talk about okra since I mentioned it earlier. I'm going to show you a couple of different varieties that we're doing as well. Nothing too fancy, but I want to show you anyway. This is a bag of okra that I've collected in seeds. I think these are all Clemson Spineless. As you can see, I'm not very good at, they might be Emerald Dreams, but I don't think that they are. I think they're seeds from Clemson Spineless. Really bad about labeling things, but I'm going to plant them this year and see what grows. We also got some of this Rainbow Mix okra. We're going to try that this year. I've never grown that, but I'll add a little color. Got a couple of those. Then Clemson Spineless. I mean, this is kind of a go-to okra from Haas Tools. There's a couple of different ones that we are going to try in the future, but we aren't going to try this year. This is usually what we grow. You know, we don't have a problem with it. We like it, so we kind of stick to it. Emerald okra. It's actually what was in this, different seeds. This grows a little bit more, a little darker green, longer, and it stays a little bit longer on the plant than the spineless okra before it becomes kind of tough. So these aren't too bad. Too good. And then the Louisiana Green Velvet. I've never grown these, so we're going to see what they look like, but they're just okra. So I'm going to see what the different varieties do. And so that's our okra seeds. We have a lot more seeds that we're going to grow this year, and but we'll get into that later. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a heads up on what we've started germinating in peppers and in tomatoes. What we will be germinating inside in okra, because I'm going to start most of these indoors. Although I may wait for some of them just to plant them outside, direct sow them. But yeah, we also have onions. The onions are actually at the other house growing. I'll have to get some updated pictures of them to you. And then we've ordered seed potatoes as well. The potatoes and onions are going to go in the ground first, and then basically everything else is going to go in after April 25th, which is our last frost date. We're going to see how the weather looks, but pretty much everything's going to go in after that date. That's pretty much it for the seeds. I also have laid out here on our stove, just to show you guys, a couple of different ways that we're starting seeds as well. So I used the paper towel method to start these, all of these. But what I did is I just put them in, some of them in this old, egg containers. They make perfect little starter pods for it, and you can pop them out when they're ready. Most of these have not come up yet, and they've started to in some cases. Like I think there's a little guy there. They're starting to pop up a little bit. So all of these were germinated, so they should all come up. I just did this a couple of days ago, so they haven't quite had time to establish themselves and pop up just yet, but hopefully they will. Here's some seed starts. You can really put it in just about anything that'll contain a little pot of dirt. It's graduation time. Boy, that light really messes with this camera. So this is our setup down in our cellar. Right now it's just one tray. It's going to be more here soon. I've got a couple of grow lights. This one hasn't been hooked up yet. I've got these grow lights as well. Kind of sit up to the side. They're going to be used when they get a little bit bigger. Let me turn this off so you can actually see them. Maybe. Let's see. Probably not enough light now, but they're doing pretty well. But it's time to get them out of here. They're getting a little bit too big. So on the table here, I've created a few of these larger seed blocks out of this beast right here. There are little squares here, which coincide with these were little squares. They don't really look like squares anymore. Maybe you can see them there. Each seed has its own square. Pick them up from here, put them in here. So let's get started. All right, got some of the bigger seed blocks going here with bell peppers. Still got a little work to go. But I wanted to show you guys, in case you're curious, the smaller seed block tray. So basically it's this little contraption here that you put dirt in there and squeeze them into little blocks. And it creates a little dimple on the top for the seed. So you put the seed in there, then you slightly cover it up. And this is a larger seed block here that you put these little seed blocks into. So you see it creates these little square holes that the seedlings fit right into, roughly. All right, here's our seed starts that we have going. These are mostly tomatoes and peppers. A couple different varieties. It's hard to see with the lights, but we started a bunch of seeds. As you can see, we did them in different ways. These are actually soil blocks. I also have some egg cartons that I tried for the first time this year just to see if I could germinate them in egg cartons, and there's really not that big of a problem. These are cayenne peppers. I have a few more peppers over here, and then over here I have a couple of them on a heat mat that have not quite germinated yet, but they will. This is kind of going to be our corner over here. As you can see, the doors to the outside, we've got all our junk in here right now. Doors to the outside are there. So I've been taking these seeds out, every once in a while, just give them a little bit of sunlight when it's nice out. Not too crazy, but I don't know. I like the sun's light more than these artificial lights, but they seem to do well, so I'm not going to complain. We got a lot of mason jars this year. We have a lot of plans to can a lot of the things that we're going to do this year, so there'll be some videos on canning. This is just a big mess of all of our different fertilizers, and we use these blocks, these expanding soil concentrated potting mix. Mix those with manure or composted manure, and then a little bit of perlite, and that's actually what we planted most of this in. So that's kind of the ingredients for these soil blocks. We put a little bit of this tomato tone fertilizer in there as well, just to try to give it a good start on the tomatoes. You can see we got a lot of junk down here. I probably won't put this in the video, but if I do, just understand. I know it's embarrassing, but I got all these lights, these shop lights up in here, so they're motion sensor shop lights. So as I come across here and move, they automatically turn on, which is pretty sweet. It's nice we got a little sink over here, so having water readily available is pretty nice to come down here and just give them a little drink from time to time. It is a mess. I'm going to clean it up this week, and I'll show you guys the end results. A few updates on the house coming soon. What do you think, Tegan? Is that enough about seeds today? All right. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later.